Welcome one and all to the best movie news show in the entire galaxy. My name is Mark, and this is Collider Movie Talk. I am thrilled to not be contagious anymore. Look, there's real live people around me, and they ain't coughing. Thank you, NyQuil, for keeping me high for the last week. We have a great show for you guys today. On today's program, we have a full recap of the Golden Globes, which Golden Globe winner is going to repeat at the Oscars, plus some Han Solo updates and The Strangers. Well, you just can't go to a trailer park without getting in trouble anymore. Joining us today, back from Britain, I thought he moved there, Mr. John Schnepp.
That's right, I was having some biscuits and gravy. Hey, what's up? Everyone's like, especially in England, was like, hey, what's up with that accent? I said, I don't understand what you're talking about, mate. What's going on? I loved hanging out in England with the folks scrimped over to Bruges for a minute. It was great. Thanks to everybody who came to Orbital Comics to hang out at my Slayer signing. It was a lot of fun. I had a blast. Happy to be back, though.
You were there for like 4 months. I thought you moved.
Yeah, I was thinking about moving. Still thinking about moving. But, you know, I'm going to stay here for a little while. So, yeah, happy to be back. 2019, right, guys? 2000.
Wrong year.
Yeah, 1 year away from that, but that is the year in the first Blade Runner, so we might call that back later on in the show.
I did call it back. I'm wearing that T-shirt, son.
Damn it.
Damn, no one knew what this T-shirt. I was like, Roka's gonna know.
I could have. Yeah, Roka would have known for sure.
It's a Blade Runner shirt, and that is the very first time making his debut on Movie Talk, Mr. Jay Washington.
Hey,
everybody.
thank you.
Oh, he gets applause. All right.
I like giving honor to God, who's ahead of my life. Past, you know, we got to do the normal Black awards. Hey man, I want to thank my mama. Without my mama, I wouldn't be here. I'm happy to be here, man. I've had a lot of fun over the weekend, watching a lot of stupid stuff on TV and reading a lot of stupid stuff on the internet, and watching all of the playoff football games. Go Saints, who that nation? And I ain't even from New Orleans. You get what I'm saying?
It's pretty fun to watch the football games, and then if you had an energy left, you probably watch the Golden Globes. Miss Ashley Mova is returning.
Hey.
Happy New Year.
Oh, thanks. I'm really confused as to what's going on. It's been a while since I've been here. Buy or sell, give it or get it, believe it or not. But I'm glad to be here.
On behalf of all of us, Ashley, happy 2020. Now you get to watch me attempt to read the news stories, and you can make fun of me with how many names that I mispronounce. We kick off with our top story. That is the 75th Golden Globes aired last night, hosted by Seth Meyers. But gone were the barbs and the drunken celebrities hanging from the chandelier. In their place were very important political overtones with progressive movements such as Me Too and Time's Up. And in the midst of all that, we gave out some awards, including your best drama of the year was 3 Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri. Your best comedy or musical of the year was Lady Bird. Your best director was Guillermo Del Toro for The Shape of Water. So Ashley, I'm going to kick it to you first. What I'd like to do to kick off is you watched the Golden Globes last night. What was your biggest takeaway from the ceremony?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say my highlight wasn't an award. It was a speech that Oprah gave. And I feel like a lot of people are on the same page with me. Her speech, it inspired me. It made me feel so pumped up. When I first heard it, sometimes it's hard to remember that Oprah hasn't been Oprah her entire life. Like, she talked about her childhood and how she came up with humble beginnings. And it's just so amazing to see, obviously, where she's gotten. She talked about Me Too and Their Time Is Up. Man, God, it was just so inspiring. When she talked about Maya Angelou, too, how she said when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I was like, everything that she said just was really, really inspiring. And Oprah for president, I have to say, Oprah for president.
That's right, Maya Angelou from Wake Forest. Like, I will say this, Jay Washington, every woman's peak is Oprah. Every man's peak is Stedman. I think that last night showed us that. What else from the Golden Globes really moved you?
Well, since you brought up Stedman, the fact that Stedman was sitting up asleep half the night, like he was sitting there just like, I was like, is Stedman awake? But the biggest thing I took away out of the whole ceremony was Natalie Portman, when she was getting ready to present the award with Ron Howard for Best Director, and said, here's your nominees of all male directors. Ron Howard almost pulled a Kanye West on Mike Myers, and the entire crowd was like, oh. And every director except for Guillermo Del Toro was like, well, I don't really know if I should get this award.
It was a real interesting moment because Oprah just gave like the greatest speech of all time that anybody had ever seen at the Golden Globes. And that's a tough act to follow. So I pin that as much on the broadcasters and NBC as much as anybody else. If anybody should have followed Oprah's speech, it's one of 2 items. It's either Seth Meyers or it's a commercial break. You don't immediately throw Ron Howard and Natalie Portman up there while Oprah is still leaving the stage. And then they're like, hey, by the way, okay, it was a great. Okay, everybody, just calm down. Please take your seats. We have another award to give away. It did feel like a bit of an awkward handoff, if you will.
I don't even know if awkward could have been a word because there was still so much commotion that you could hear. You couldn't even drown it out. And they just told him, read, just read, just read. Because they literally just told him, start reading. And she's about to, he's Ron Howard's reading, and he's like, whoa, what, how do you follow? How do you follow that? Okay, here's the nominees. And that's literally what he had to push through. And Natalie Portman had in her mind already, I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to go with this when I go with it. And then she said to Ron Howard was like, y'all could have gave us to a commercial break at least. Because his face was like, I don't want to do this right now. And so that in itself was just like, oh yeah, this is going to be gift everywhere. And which I did in approximately 10 minutes afterwards.
John Schnepp, you watched the ceremony last night. You caught some of the winners, the losers. Yeah. What struck you?
I watched most of it in between watching Black Mirror, which was what I was really watching, and then I would take breaks in between episodes and then like check Twitter and watch the little encapsulated nuggets of flavor. I'll say a couple of moments that I really loved. Allison Janney winning for I, Tonya. She did a fantastic job as that evil mother. Let's see. Tommy Wiseau getting kind of stopped.
He got so close.
But you know what? It's like, it didn't bother me because it's like, look, it was James Franco's award, and like a lot of other people don't chime in. So just because he was acting as Tommy Wiseau and he had him come up, all the other people, like his brother wasn't trying to chime in and jump on him. It's like, you got to chill. And if at the end maybe he let Tommy Wiseau say something, that would have been cool. But Tommy was jumping on the mic immediately, which probably ruined his chance of saying anything later, because Franco was like, yo, he's too dangerous. He's going to go on for 30 minutes. I don't know. The room, he's got the whole room here. You know, it's like, it's scary. So the other person who I was like, I got a little kick out of Gary Oldman winning, because he's so sour, and he's almost like me when he's talking about the Golden Globes, how it's a meaningless awards show, it's fake, it's like 60 people get together and like have a big party for celebrities, and that's cool. I'm totally cool with that, but don't call it's like a kind of a fake awards show. I mean, Ridley Scott's movie wasn't even done and it got nominated. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's when you're like, who paid what for what, you know? And I'm cool with that. Everybody get drunk, have a party, but Gary Oldman won. But just for the 2014, he was talking about how it's like a sham and it's a meaningless award and it's stupid. And there he is, like sucking on it. So that's what, to me, I was like, Gary Oldman, man, good job.
You know, it's interesting. Well, first of any time you have Gary Oldman sucking on a Golden Award, it's an interesting, it's of note. But here's the big point about the Golden Globes for me anyway last night. I thought Seth Meyers did a great job hosting. It was really cool to see all of the movements that were everybody was united in that room. And a lot of people don't like when award shows get political, but what I'll say about the Golden Globes is that where we always had it is just this stupid drunk fest that nobody really took the award that seriously. Everybody took it seriously last night. And I think that the Hollywood Foreign Press needs to take that baton and run with it, because it is their voting process, the way that they get their nominations together is a little sketchy, to say the least. So now when you realize how seriously people take this and how moved, you have Oprah's speech, you have people won the award, and it really meant something to them. There was a huge national audience watching this. Maybe you need to take some stock and say, hey, people care about this and they want to take it seriously more than we do. So in the vein of taking it seriously, Jay, I'm going to give you the first crack at which movie do you think that won at the Golden Globes last night? Now, it could be a movie, could be an actor, actress, director, whatever. Do you think has the best chance of repeating at the Oscars?
When I looked at the question, I had to think about what was given away and who stood out the most and what has been the most critically acclaimed and reviewed. So I'm literally going to go Best Actress, because it's all going to be in one category. And it's going to be either Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird or Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. It's going to be one of those two, plain and simple. The way they're on this roll, if it's not one of those two, it's going to be like, what happened? All of a sudden, because we'll see it coming in the SAG Awards and things like that. It'll all roll into it. I believe one of those two have the best chance of winning.
Okay, he's going with the Best Actress category. Schnepp, who do you think is a shoo-in to take it again at the Oscars?
I'd say best picture, Lady Bird. I mean, that really is, like, to me, my favorite film of the year so far. I also wanted to mention Guillermo Del Toro winning for Best Director was great. And his acceptance speech was very heartwarming, and you know, him and Oprah kind of won the room for me for all of the different speeches. But I'd go with Lady Bird.
All right, so we got Lady Bird, we got Saoirse Ronan / Frances McDormand winning for Best Actress. Ashley Mova, throw some fire in this.
Ooh, I'm going to do a cop-out answer. I'm going to go with Coco for animated because I know, but because, like, I mean, like, what was that? Was that even a competition? It was probably one of the most awkward categories.
Emoji
the Boss
Movie, come
Baby,
on.
the breadwinner, Ferdinand, Loving Vincent, like... sorry, Coco obviously takes it, but I love Guillermo Del Toro's speech. Was that his wife that was crying in the audience? It was just. I wanted to cry.
There's a lot of people crying.
Oh yeah.
I think it's like the goal of every man to give a speech and then have a woman crying in there because she's so happy that you're giving that speech.
It was touching.
Guillermo Del Toro certainly earned it. I'm going to take Del Toro for Best Director. He's the one I think is a shoo-in to win again at the Oscars. But the Gary Oldman-James Franco matchup, I think that's why Tommy Wiseau didn't get the mic. One, because he's a mentally unstable individual and you don't give him the mic at a show like that. But also maybe Franco is saving that in case he wins at the Oscars. He brings Tommy Wiseau back and then Tommy Wiseau gets the floor at the Oscars. It'd be a pretty special thing to witness.
Funny story about Tommy Wiseau. Okay, I live near where the Golden Globes takes place, so a lot of the limos like to park on my street. I came home last night to park my car, and my entire street was filled with all those limos, and I pulled up in front of my house, and there was a limo plastered with The Room and Tommy Wiseau's face, posters everywhere, and I was just thinking, all right, you deserve this spot. And I wonder if that was James Franco, Tommy Wiseau's limo.
That was Tommy Wiseau.
That was Tommy Wiseau.
I wish I hopped in there and been like, can I?
My question is,
you?
sorry about that. My question is, how high was Tommy Wiseau?
Oh, beyond.
Because you could see it in his hair and the fact he never took those glasses off.
I think he's like that
All the
24/7.
time.
But I'm just saying, you enhance the level now. Because in a sense, without him winning, he's being recognized at this moment. So he was celebrating and partying all day. Like he woke up, was like, well, let's get it started.
I would like to see Greg Sestero come up on stage too. I mean, it's based on his book, The Disaster Artist. So I think it would be fair for him to come on stage. He doesn't have to say anything, but everyone who's involved should be up on stage.
Yeah, I think it might be the first time in history that we're actually more excited to see the actual subject of the movie come on stage and get the award than the people who were in the movie that earned the award in the first place. So we'll have to see how it all shakes out at the Oscars. That's our predictions. I believe we have a poll up on Twitter right now. You can go to @ColliderVideo and check out, and you guys can vote which of the 4 categories that we have right there do you think has the best chance of repeating at the Oscars. We'll weigh in with that poll later on today. In the meantime, we move on to our next story. Somebody who's set to have a pretty good 2018 is Donald Glover. He is playing Lando Calrissian, the young Lando, in the new Star Wars story, and he was asked about that at a recent interview for his panel for the 2nd season of Atlanta, and obviously reporters going to ask about the reshoots of Solo, a Star Wars story. Via the report from Slash Film, Glover spoke about how much of his material from Lord and Miller's cut was reshot, and he said not a ton, actually. Not a lot at all, at least not for me. I think we've all been faced with anything like that, and Ron Howard did a good job of coming and telling us he didn't want to change what we were doing at all. He wanted us to remain confident in our vision, and he just wanted to sculpt it in a way. Glover went on to talk about a particular shot that I don't know if it's a huge spoiler or not, but Ron Howard and him were talking about a... guess we could put it up there. There's never been an actual shot in any Star Wars movie following somebody walk into the Millennium Falcon. We've seen them disappear up the ramp, then we've seen them in the Falcon, but we've never had that like Goodfellas restaurant scene of walking into the Millennium Falcon for the first time. It appears you might get that in Solo, a Star Wars story. So Donald Glover talking about the reshoots, Jay Washington. How much stock do you put in what Glover is saying? Do you think there really wasn't a whole lot changed?
For him, it probably didn't matter. I don't think he knew too much or cared because, again, he even says it later on. He grew up under Lucas. He loves it. He's a fan. So whatever you're telling him to do, it's like, oh, this is part of what I need to be doing anyway. So it's nothing big to him. Now, maybe some of the other actors are like, oh, here we go with all these reshoots. Donald Glover's like, I'm just happy to be here in this role in particular. So you're not going to get any negative vibes from him in any way, shape, form, or fashion, or any cop-outs per se. He's going to say what he feels in his soul is, I'm happy to do this. Wait till you see all the press junkets, how much Donald Glover is smiling repeatedly, how much he is just cheesing. He'll forego Atlanta to keep talking about this, even after it comes out.
Well, it's something that you're going to hear. I mean, regardless of what your project you're promoting, John Schnepp, if you are in a Star Wars movie or there's some Star Wars item coming out with your name attached to it, you're going to get asked about it. How do you think Glover did fielding this
I
question?
think he handled it all right. I wanted to break a little news that, I actually, when I was in England, I talked to someone who worked on Solo and worked on all the Star Wars movies. And of course, I'd be like, yo, so how much was reshot? I just got right into it, and without no spoilers. You can put that spoiler thing back up if you want to, just in case somebody gets extra. I kind of hear about Solo, porgs, whatever. Relax. So yeah, a whole bunch of the movie got reshot. People love to talk about like Justice League, this and that. When you saw the movie, a lot of it was reshot. Same thing with Solo. You're not going to be able to tell there's not like a different kind of tone but the biggest problem was when you, and no one really thought about this, but I'll just say it, like when you have 2 directors versus 1 director, you've got 2 different, now it's different when you have the Coen brothers or people who've worked together all the time, but when you have 2 different directors, they're going to have different opinions. And one director might love the design that you came up with, and one might not. One person might love the lighting of this thing, and one might not. One director might like this actor, and one might not. So that was kind of the problem with a lot of the entire departments were conflicting, and things were taking twice as long because you had 2 different people sometimes agreeing with each other and sometimes not, and arguing with each other. So that therein is a piece of the puzzle you haven't heard yet, where it's like, that doesn't even have anything to do with like director versus director. It's more like, look, we're running out of time. You got to make decisions. You can't have like, well, let's try both ways, that kind of thing. So I feel like once Ron Howard came in, everyone on the entire crew, everyone, all the actors, everybody just felt more at ease because it's one decision-making person. Like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to shoot here. This is what the outfit's going to look like. This is the actor who's going to be playing this. So I feel like that is why they were able to do all these reshoots. Over 70% of the film was reshot so quickly, and it'll still be coming out in May.
Yeah, and artistically, Donald Glover can achieve pretty much anything he wants to. He's proven that already in his young career, and I think that the same can be said for his ability to be in front of the press and not give anything away, because he's just talking about his own experience on this particular movie set. So Jay's right, actually. Maybe he didn't have to reshoot a lot of stuff with Ron Howard. In between the Oprah to Natalie Portman drama of last night, if you guys missed this, when they introduced Ron Howard, they said the director of Solo, a Star Wars story. So this is not like a Justice League, oh, we're still going to give Zack Snyder credit situation. Yes. This is Ron Howard's movie all of a sudden. Do you think that a lot was changed with the Lando character, and this is Donald Glover just kind of being hands-off?
Yeah, you know, it's hard to say with this quote, because I feel like Donald Glover is just really a jack of all trades. He's an amazing musician, amazing rapper, amazing actor, and now I'm going to add ballerina to the list because he just tiptoed around with this quote. It literally makes no sense. Why would you change directors if things aren't switching? But I feel like, if anything, this quote should be a relief to some people, and that's what it can serve as for now. But am I buying if the quote is true or not? Probably not.
I don't know if we're allowed to still buy or sell on this show. We'll have to wait until
Disagree!
later on.
Disagree!
We're going to get into all that in just a second. I will also note that Lawrence Kasdan's script was already written when Lord and Miller started shooting this. So the big debut, or I guess the big problem that they had with Lord and Miller versus Kathleen Kennedy, is that they were not sticking to Lawrence Kasdan's script enough. So if you read the script, and this is what Donald Glover, this is the material he was given, he probably is right in saying that they didn't change a whole lot from this, because Ron Howard was brought in to just shoot the script that Lawrence Kasdan had already written, that Donald Glover at least got to see his pages of. So I do take Donald Glover at his word, and I also just think about that shot following somebody into the Millennium Falcon for the first time, whether it's Lando or Han or Chewie or whatever. Seems like it's going to be a pretty neat shot to witness. Okay, I'm getting a little excited about the Star Wars movie that I didn't even want in the first place. There's movies that came out this past weekend, but they didn't really matter because Jumanji took the top spot again at the box office. Look at this, $36 million. The movie's been out for like, what, 9 months, and it is still crushing it, finishing at number 1. It was actually released on December 20th. Its domestic total is now $244 million. We did have a new release to talk about, Insidious, The Last Key. Is it really The Last Key? Probably not. It made just under $30 million. Star Wars, The Last Jedi pushed number 3 with $23.5 million. The Greatest Showman, $13.8, and Pitch Perfect 3 rounding out the top 5 with $10.2 million for a domestic total thus far of $85 million. John Schnepp, you are looking at the box office, and these numbers are reported in dollars, not quid or crowns,
pounds,
shillings,
pounds,
or scones.
How do you feel about this transition from the euro back to the dollar?
Well, you know, if it was the euro, I would be like, give me a whole bunch of cheese and onion sandwiches. I'll take them with me on the flight.
Sandwiches?
Oh, they're
Onion.
so good.
What is that?
Cheese and onion sandwiches. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Raw onions?
Oh my God, they're so good.
What?
No, they're cut up. It's a cheese and onion sandwich.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. I'll bring one back for you next time
Okay, but
I'm
just
there.
bring me all of the Listerine, all of the breath mints, and a lot of
You're
sparkling
gonna
water.
love it, Jay. You know what? The one that pops out to me is Insidious. I mean, to me, I thought that would have made a lot less money. especially from all the reviews, because it was really trounced really hard. It's like one of the worst Insidious sequels besides the first two. So there's only one before that, and then this one. So you're like, yeah, and the third one sucked. You're like, Join the Club is number 4. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it sucks or not. I'm just going by a lot of my friends who said it was horrible trash. So that it made $29 million, I'm sure everyone involved is very happy that it's going to make its money back, and maybe they'll get a 5th one where they can maybe do a different version or do more of the same. It seems like people want to see more Insidious. So that's the one that shocks me. That Jumanji finally beat Last Jedi is not that big of a deal. You know, did it beat it last week too? Or
well, look, here's the thing. Jumanji is number 1. It's now at $245 million domestically. That's incredible. That is that's a huge achievement for a property that had a lot of nostalgia going into it. You add star power like The Rock and Kevin Hart to the mix. You could see that this could be a summertime blockbuster. They released it around Christmas. It's a nice family holiday season. Ashley, you saw the movie. I think you really dug it. Did you have any in your wildest dreams imagine it could make $250 million?
I kind of did, because it has that star power behind it. And going into it, I thought that The Rock and Kevin Hart were just going to be the shining out like stars for me. And I love their chemistry. But Jack Black took the cake for me on this one.
Wow,
he was absolutely hilarious. And Insidious at number 2 is kind of crazy to me. I love the first Insidious, but it kind of did for me what a lot of horror franchises do. The further you get away from the first one, the further.
The further.
There it is.
The further you get away from the first one, just like the worse and worse it gets. So I just had no interest seeing it. The trailers didn't do it for me either. Like, we get it. Also, Pitch Perfect, I really want to see it. I haven't seen it yet because no one wants to see it with me.
Oh, nobody wants to see. Somebody out there, please go see Pitch Perfect 3 with that. Maybe if Tommy Wiseau's limo is still parked in front of your house, you guys can go check out
Tommy.
Pitch Perfect 3. He can tell you all the things that he would have changed about that 3rd installment. It seems to be something with horror movies, Jay, where as soon as they drop the number from the sequel, like you have Insidious 1, 2, and 3, and then they're like, don't tell them it's a 4th one. Just put Insidious, the last key. That's when it really starts to go downhill, but it still made almost $30 million this weekend.
Again, you just said it. You don't put numbers under any sequels anymore. You know, we forget that Jigsaw was like the 8th Saw movie.
Yeah.
You know, and they're supposed to be doing another Final Destination. They're supposed to be bringing all these different ones back. It's just changing the name. But if people actually want to go and see horror movies again, per se, and if it's actually a horror movie like we know, and not just, oh, it's suspenseful and it's terrifying, then of course you're going to get that number you get at the box office. Now, a resounding number, will it be number 1? Absolutely not. It'll be the number 1 horror movie because why? There aren't any other horror movies. Now, my question goes to Ashley about Pitch Perfect. I believe all the cast bought those tickets. That's it.
No! I love the second one.
I believe Rebel Wilson was like, here, just put this out there. Just do this. Because nobody wants it. There are certain, but again, nobody wanted Insidious 4.
Right.
There are movies nobody wants, but they somehow generate money. They generate revenue. And I don't know what type of push was behind Insidious for it to be number 2, but evidently there was, and it works. Now, what it does this week will be telling. How far, if it falls off, if it holds steady, that'll be telling on it. Like, okay, people just wanted to get it out the way and be done with it.
Well, it's got some competition this weekend because Liam Neeson's on a train, ladies and gentlemen. The Commuter comes into theaters. You also have Paddington 2, which I think Paddington 2 is going to take the top spot. That bear and his marmalade, they're just so damn cute. Here's a fun fact, though, is that all of the movies in the top 9 this weekend at the box office made $5 million or more. That's a lot of people going to see the movie, and Coco is now $8 million short of passing the 200 million domestic mark. So rooting for you, Coco. Big fan of yours. And now we move on to that most trepidatious of times here at Movie Talk. Is it buy or sell? Is it agree or disagree? I don't know what the hell's happening. I was out sick getting vitamin IVs all week last week, and I hear that now we have a new segment, agree or disagree, because people were tired of the old segment, buy or sell. So I think what I'm going to do is host the show, and I'm just going to ask questions, and we'll see what comes out of my mouth. First up is Ridley Scott talking about maybe a new Blade Runner movie. He says that he has an idea for a new 3rd Blade Runner film in a recent interview with Digital Spy. He was talking all the money in the world, and then he said he has another idea for a sequel set in the world of Blade Runner that he's ready to develop at Warner Brothers at a moment's notice. He's quoted as saying, "I hope so. I think there is another story. I've got another one ready to evolve and be developed, so it is certainly one to be done for sure." John Schnepp, I'm going to throw it to you first, and I will give you a statement which you can either agree or disagree with. Ridley Scott should be developing a 3rd Blade Runner movie. Do we have the appetite for it? I say we do. What say you? Agree or disagree?
Let's see. I was gonna say in or out, like you know.
Are you in or out of the third Blade Runner movie?
I am out. I'm out. You know, look, I want to see Ridley Scott do another Alien movie before I see him do another Blade Runner. I love Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049. I think it's a masterpiece. I've seen it multiple times now, and I don't want to see Ridley Scott return to Blade Runner. I really don't. I feel like it has nothing to do with him being like in his late 70s. It has more so to do with like, I think he's a really good director. I think he's really competent, but I feel like he's pushing an agenda, especially with Alien and the Alien franchise and with Blade Runner, with the replicants and all this kind of stuff. And I feel like I kind of like the way Denis took those story elements that that Ridley had done, you know, over 30 years ago, and then went in a different direction. I'd like to, if they were going to do a Blade Runner sequel, I'd like to see some other artistic director take his chance and shot at Blade Runner.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What if Ridley Scott just comes up with a story for a third Blade Runner movie? Then we have another director, whether it's, you know, Denis Villeneuve comes back or it's somebody else.
I think he should stay away from storytelling. I think, you know, I think he's a good director. He's a really good director, but I feel like a lot of elements from the certain elements from Alien Covenant, which were repetitive. I think he's an incredible director. He's got to let the screenwriters do the screenwriting, and he pushes these story elements that just don't work. Even when he has a great script, he ends up changing it, and those changes are the things that people complain the most about in his films are the things that he actually changed. So I mean, it's like this is going from doing a lot of research on a lot of his other films. I mean, look, some of the films he worked, like the director's cut of certain films of his, are incredible. So I'm not going to get into a whole Ridley Scott thing. I just don't think he should be involved in any further Blade Runners. I'd like to see him do other things.
Okay, so Jay Washington, agree or disagree with John Schnepp's point that Ridley Scott should not be pursuing a third Blade Runner movie?
I agree with John Schnepp. I will go back to Alien Covenant. When he told us we were getting an Alien prequel, we just got a Prometheus sequel. He just kept on with that story. He didn't go back to the original story he was supposed to. And he even says in his own quote about Blade Runner 2049, it was way too long, which it was for many people. And it was loud. There were some of the things I know they were doing with the sound. And again, that's Ridley Scott saying, you know, look, this is what I want to put. I want to have to do this. If you give it to somebody else, another director who can see his vision, and he just handled, you know, he can see what he wants. Here's the story. Ridley Scott is, here's the story. This is what I think it should be. The screenwriter writes it out. He says, okay, cool. You give it to another director that he trusts, execute his vision. He can be a consultant on set with it, but don't let him run it. Don't put him in the chair.
Isn't this also a budgetary question, though? Isn't this also saying, hey, we don't want to spend $200 million on a movie that's not going to make its budget back domestically, and we're worried about even recouping its expenses overseas and once Blu-ray sales come out? So what if you had Ridley Scott come in and make a Blade Runner movie that costs less money, that maybe looks smart, that's not as long? Ridley Scott even said himself, Ashley, that he thought that Blade Runner 2049, he loved a lot of it, but most of it was his fault. He pinned it on himself writing the script, but that the movie's way too long. So do you think that there's a future for Blade Runner?
How awkward of a quote is that for him to say, yeah, it was too long? It's like, I don't want to see you make another one of these movies. 2049, for me, I was super eager beaver. I was like, this movie is so long. And for me to say that while staring at Ryan Gosling, that's saying a lot for me. And I feel like the way it ended, it kind of answered enough questions for me. I guess this is, without giving away too many spoilers, I understand that you could probably answer more questions, but it was enough of a resolution for me, and I don't want to see another long movie.
No spoilers, but San Diego is not the vacation destination in 2049.
Also, Ridley Scott wasn't involved in the story for 2049.
Right.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, he
He
didn't write it.
was a producer of some.
Just a producer, but he was actually punted off set by Denis Villeneuve. He was like, nah, I don't want you floating around. So he was really not involved. So
you think he's got a future doing Alien stuff, or do you think just directing a movie? Or
I think he's done on Blade Runner and Alien. I don't think he's going to be allowed back to those franchises. He wasn't a part of the Blade Runner thing except in producer only type of thing, and then obviously Alien Covenant did not perform the way Fox wanted it to. So I don't think they're going to continue, at least with that sequel. I would like to see that third final film, from the Prometheus Ridley Scott version, if he's able to wrap it up. I don't think he is, because he kept talking about, like, I've got 4 more Prometheus movies. I'm like, easy, man. I just want to see one that kind of goes back to the original Alien. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. So
Yeah, I mean, after Alien Covenant, I got a bad taste in my mouth in that movie. I know it's a controversial opinion, but boy, I need to rest before I think about another Alien movie. But we do have another horror movie coming out. And remember The Strangers, the guys, they wore the hoods and they scared people? It's coming back, ladies and gentlemen. The Strangers Prey at Night has its first trailer debut this past weekend, 10 years after 2008's original The Strangers, starring Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler. Prey at Night sees a family's road trip take a dangerous turn when they arrive at a secluded mobile home park. That sounds safe to stay with some relatives. It opens in theaters on March 9th, 2018. Ashley, I'm going right to the horror fan here. The Strangers. You love the first one.
Yes,
How do you
I
feel
did.
about the trailer for the new one?
Oh my gosh. I'm just like excited about another Strangers movie because I really loved it. I know some people weren't fans of it, but I personally loved it. And I love me a good rusty swing. I love me some good scary masks. And this just seems like a good time at the movie theater. Like, you know, you're going to get those jump scares. The audience is going to be scared with you. And then you're all going to laugh together when it's like a little bit of a relief. I'm so excited for this movie.
So one could say you buy the trailer?
I might buy it, or I'm in, or I'm out, or
No,
I
we'll
believe
buy
it or
or
I
sell
don't.
trailers, I think.
Okay.
That's fair.
I buy it.
She's
I buy
buying
it.
the movie ticket. How about you, Jay Washington? You get scared of movies easily?
That's not a question I want to answer on this show because I don't need anybody looking at me different. Like, yo, if we come around the corner with a mask, he may scream like a 3-year-old.
You know who's looking at you different right now is the woman right behind you.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do that.
Look at that. Look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good.
He's literally like, Jay.
She's right there.
That is, okay, that's hey, man, stop that. That is a terrifying shot. I just want you all to know this. For me, I too was a fan of the original Strangers. I was a fan of it. I loved it the way they did it. The best line in that entire film for me is, "Why are you doing this? Because you were home." One of the great lines. But again, when you see the trailer, it's like, all right, we've seen this. We've seen the couple about to have sex and something happen. We've seen the rusty swing happen. But the one thing they had was the truck that's on fire that's still driving slow that hasn't blown up yet. I was like, huh? At what point is this making any sense? Like, the truck is just slowly creeping and it's on fire. It's just the front part is on fire, not the back. And I'm like, okay, really? I don't think you can recreate what you got in the first Strangers, especially after waiting 10 years. Again, I know it was transpired by true events and whatnot, but I think you waited too long.
Yeah, from a automotive standpoint, I'm going to have to agree with Jay Washington that if your car's on fire and it's not called the Batmobile, you should probably exit the vehicle as quickly as possible. John Schnepp, I will say that this trailer had some neat shots. I like the American graffiti through a funhouse mirror kind of ending where the truck pulls up next to the car and she's really scared. Then the guy's wearing the mask and he looks down at her. I like the rusty swing like Ashley did. Overall, I think I'm going to sell this trailer because it just felt like they're just putting people in masks to scare us again, like they tried to do 10 years ago. And they didn't even bring back the classic shot of my favorite trailer of that year was just seeing the head lean in and then lean out. And it seems like this one is just going to be more of a gore fest than a scare fest. Does that make sense to you?
It seems like more of a yawn fest. I disagree with this trailer.
You disagree with Ashley's buy?
Yeah, I mean, what masks are left? They got a Betty Boop mask at the end, like, I'm in the cone with you. I'm inside the tube. It's boring. They got a car on fire. Get me out of here. I saw enough with the first trailer. This second trailer had me, I was literally laughing out loud watching this stupid trailer. I'm not going to see the movie. If you are into this movie, rock on, enjoy the film. I think it's dumb.
Okay,
It's played out too.
Jay
I've seen so
John
many people with
Schnepp.
masks that were done so much better. You're next. I mean, look, we've gone
The Purge?
The Purge. I mean, we're
Purge?
done with the goofball mask. Like, I'm creepy and weird because I'm hanging out in the shadows with a mask. It's not scary.
Okay, look, you're all my children, and I love you equally. I gave you $45 to go to the movies. Ashley's going to make the decision as to what movie you see. Ashley, you have to sell Jay and John on going to see The Strangers with you. Why should they accompany you?
Because it's fun. It's a good time at the theater. You know, it's just like, it's exciting. Everyone's going to have a good time together. Everyone's going to be scared together.
How many
I can go
driverless
see
flaming cars are going to be in the movie?
I could go see Paddington
Maybe
and still be
3.
scared, okay?
Paddington is probably scarier than
This is more of
terrified.
a marmalade.
No, Hugh Grant, who looks like he doesn't
right.
want to be that voice anymore. So, but that's not selling. Again, like you said, how many flaming cars? Is it just the one truck? Is
Maybe
it
just the one.
And that truck is old, rusty, and beat up, but them fires don't stop.
We haven't gotten like good horror movies, you know, for a long time that like kind of are just an exciting, fun. Last time I saw a movie kind of like that was Happy Death Day. It was just like a fun time at the theater, but it was scary at the same time, and like I missed that. You know what I mean?
We need a good horror movie in 2018. Will it be The Strangers? Comment right now in our chat room or on YouTube after the fact and let us know. Speaking of you guys, you're voting in the poll right now that is on our Twitter page. And right now, Best Director Guillermo Del Toro is edging out the Best Actor category for the one most likely to repeat at the Oscars. So, Mr. Del Toro, we hope you get to give another speech at the Oscars because the one last night was pretty damn good. Hopefully, they won't play you off as soon. We want to remind you guys that the top 50 superhero movies of all time, it's really getting hot in there. I don't know how many we have left.
5.
But, we have 5 left, and the fans are letting their voices be heard, and we love you for it. Try to keep it as respectful as possible, but we know how passionate you guys are. So check that out. A new episode dropped this morning, and you guys can continue to check out the Collider video YouTube page every morning this week until we get all the way up to number 1 when we see Billy Zane as the Phantom revealed as the greatest superhero movie of all time. Later on today, we also have John. Sorry, I gave that away. We also have John Schnepp doing a new Heroes today. Yes. What's in store for us, bud?
We're going to get really sweaty about a lot of topics. I don't want to ruin it because we haven't actually even talked about any of the topics on today's show of Movie Talk, so it's a wildly different show.
All right, well, we have Jedi Council from last week and the Schmodown Spectacular, too. If you haven't seen any of the carnage that ensued this past Christmas season, check it out right now. And as for me, I will be at the Ice House Comedy Club in Pasadena, January 26th and 27th. You can get tickets at markellislive.com. Without further ado, we're going to move on to Mailbag. And I want to remind you guys, at the end of this show, we'll save some time for your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now. Same place you voted on the poll, at Collider Video. In the meantime, the Mailbag question involves music, and I'm very excited about this. It comes from Juho F, and they write, "Hello, Collider. Baby Driver is one of my favorite movies of the year in 2017. The movie's full of great music, and it introduces the concept of the killer track, that piece of music that motivates you and makes you accomplish the impossible. Your killer track, Juho, is Riff Raff by AC/DC. Excellent choice, my friend. When I hear the song, I feel invincible. What I would like to know is this. What are your killer tracks?" As soon as I brought up the concept at the pre-production meeting, John Schnepp lit up and queued us up some Norwegian metal. What do you got?
Right. I got a Monomarth Pursuit of Vikings. Yo. That's one of them. I got Ministry Thieves. I got Devo Gates of Steel. But I think a Monomarth is one. I like listening to this like power Norse metal, you know, and that really gets me going.
What is it about Norse metal that Americans just cannot replicate?
The power of Thor, the hammer. What is it about the Norse mythology that, you know, America can't replicate? That's what I would say.
That's a pretty good
Listen
point.
to some of the tracks. Just look up Amon Amarth. You'll get into it.
If I was going to go metal, I would go with American metal, the one that I'm most familiar with. That would be Metallica. Probably Creeping Death's a pretty good one that makes me feel somewhat invincible, but that's not my killer track. Saving that for a minute. In the meantime, we go to Ashley Mova. Your killer track, what do you crank on the radio when you need to kick some ass?
I feel like, as usual, everyone's over here and I'm over there. I'm going to be kind of embarrassed admitting this one, but Eminem, Lose Yourself, 8 Mile. Every time that comes on the radio, I just like pump it up. It is so good. Do you guys know?
Have you ever had Mom Spaghetti on your shirt?
Oh, yeah, throwing it up.
Okay. All right. I think that's a great pump up, so I don't know why that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It is embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing.
Not embarrassing.
If you think that's embarrassing, wait until you hear mine. Jay Washington, your killer track.
It's not embarrassing because mine is an Eminem track.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
Mine is Cinderella Man by Eminem from the Recovery album. So if you listen to that, it's like he says he's not supposed to be here, but he is. And it just relates to me personally because I'm a kid from the south side of Chicago, like in the hood. Like, I wasn't supposed to make it past the age of 25. I'm not telling y'all my age, so don't even start asking.
You look young.
29. Oh. But I wasn't supposed to. And so hearing that song makes me pump up a lot of times, and it's how I bench press 425 pounds in the gym when I need to. So.
Wait, do we have to pick it from a movie, or can we just say any song?
Anything.
Oh my God, Drake the Motto.
Oh, okay, you could have stuck where you lose yourself then if you went to Drake the Motto.
How dare you?
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of good ones in the chat room right now. We have the Footloose song. You guys know it doesn't have to be from a movie, but thank you for your Footloose participation. Harvester of Sorrow, nice one. We have a lot of votes for Queen in there. Queen is one of the killer tracks used in Baby Driver for me. I'm going to show off some of my white trash roots, something that's very off the beaten path and something that's going to surprise everybody in the room, including myself, that I actually admit this in public. The Top Gun anthem is something that when I'm running, when you hear the Top Gun anthem, Steve Stevens, Harold Faltermeyer are composing it, it's pretty special stuff. And then I also have one way off the beaten path you might not expect from me. When I hear Janet Jackson's Black Cat, woo, boy, what a tune that is. Yeah. Don't understand.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You got to
You
give us
okay
a
over
little
there?
bit of
No, because I called
Black
me.
Cat 9 Live, short days, long nights. Hell of a guitar riff, Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation. That's another one for me. And then the last one, the one that maybe pumps me up most of all, when I'm running on a treadmill or out in the street somewhere and I hear the song comes on. It's a seasonal song, so I don't get to play it a lot this time of year, is the Feed the World song. Do They Know It's Christmas Time at all?
What?
When that song kicks in.
Wow.
Oh, God.
You literally
Talking
heard
about?
crickets across all of the internet.
I don't
It's
even know
weird.
what that is. What is
Yeah.
that? Can you
Feed the world.
Let them know.
it's Christmas.
Do they know it's Christmas time at all? The song that they put together, all the celebrities in the mid-'80s?
No.
Now she want a photo. You already know.
No, and it's all the British celebrities. The Feed the World one.
It's a lot of Brits, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy George Michael. Great
Bono.
tune. Check it out, ladies and
It's
gentlemen.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
In the
You could have said Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You."
Yeah,
So
there
you
you
want as
go.
well.
There you
Yeah.
go.
You could have said.
Look at Christmas time. It's past, but it still has some killer tracks associated with it.
Feed the World is a beautiful song. Ashley, you will love it. It will replace Eminem.
I'll play it
for
on the
you.
way home.
Yeah, you will. It's a great song.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to move on to your live Twitter questions. And the first one comes from, coincidentally, George6969 says, which? Hey, I'm not making these
You're
up.
lying.
Okay,
You are
George6969
Oh, my
as the
God.
first question of our Twitter scope. And he says, which movie do you think that was nominated at the Golden Globes should not be in the contenders for Oscar's Best Picture? Jay Washington, you have your hand raised. You get
All
to go
the money
first.
in the world.
Right.
I think we all gonna. It's not even released yet.
Yeah.
All the money in the world. Why
Yeah.
is it even being mentioned? They were like Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World. How?
Yeah, how? They're still shooting it. How did you see the movie?
How?
Yeah.
That's it. All
He
the
just,
money.
I just know that he did an Oscar-worthy performance. I could feel it.
Yeah, it's like no.
John Schnepp, what do you got?
I'll steal yours, Jay. But let me see if I can come up with an original one. What should not be Oscar nominated?
Yeah. It's tough.
That is tough.
Take all the time you need.
Okay. I need about 45 minutes. Come back and go watch another internet show.
Ashley
and then-
Mova, do you have any other movie
Oh
that
my
is?
God. I mean, obviously this is going to get nominated, and I'll probably get so much S for this, but honestly, I don't understand. Here we go. I don't understand the hype over Lady Bird.
Gotta
I'm
go.
sorry.
All right.
I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, I think I saw it after all the hype happened, and I just went in with these like expectations. This happens to me a lot, actually. It's just a coming of age story. It is what it is. Like, I don't get it. What's the hype?
You
know
are
what?
saying you did not lose yourself in the music
I did.
element.
You want it. Never let it go. Let this one go.
I'd say let this one go. I'm gonna. You know what? I, Tonya, for me, it's a great film.
Yeah.
It's not an Oscar film to me. It's pretty uneven, and I liked a lot of the elements. I think Margot Robbie did an incredible performance, and Allison Janney deserved that Golden Globe or whatever that award is. I think Allison Janney should get a supporting role nomination, but I don't think I, Tonya should.
Yeah, Allison Janney was pretty damn special in that movie. Our next question comes from Allie Slade at Glitter Geek Alley. Hello, Collider Movie Talk crew. Hello. What other 1980s cult hit should get a follow-up like Blade Runner? Personally, Allie is ready for the Labyrinth reboot that we've been hearing about. John Schnepp, 80s. You were alive during that time.
Metal Storm, the attack of Jared Sin or whatever the that's not even forget it. It was an inside joke for true weird science fiction 80s weirdos. No one's gonna get that. So I'll just move on. 80s. I would like to see perhaps a Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in as
boy,
King
that's
Conan.
risky.
I would want to see that. But I know the you know it's written, it's ready to go. John Milius was involved. The Wachowskis did a script for it. I would like to see it.
Yeah, it's a shame that they kind of just shoehorned Momoa into that role, you know, and they just kind of threw that movie together when he would have been a great Conan, but just not right then. And we didn't have Arnold, and it would have been nice to have like a transitional kind of thing.
Also, the movie was horrible. That's
Yeah.
why. I mean, Jason Momoa was a perfect pick to play Conan the Barbarian. Unfortunately, the script was garbage. The movie was horrible. It was just a horrible film that he was involved in. He would have been a perfect Conan if he had a good script and a good director and a good writer. So,
Okay, Jay Washington, you were also alive during the 1980s, so I'm reading that right. You were a boy of maybe 8 years old.
Yes.
What movie needs the reboot treatment?
I want to see Gremlins.
Yeah,
I want to see Gremlins
Nice.
again.
Sign
And
off.
I love the original. I died laughing at the sequel when they made all the scientific experiment Gremlins.
Sure.
we could do so much now with special effects, CGI, and even practical effects that Gizmo could still be the same basic looking creature,
So
cute little cuddly.
Yeah.
I own a Gizmo.
Looks like
I
a
bought
porg.
me a Gizmo
Yeah.
at LA Comic-Con because I saw this and I pushed the kid out the way and was like, let me get this. But don't judge me, shorty. I mean, you were just in my way. But I feel like we could bring that back in this day and age and not have it overdone. You know, have it look, just have that same feel. Make it kind of dark like the first, because the first one is super dark yet comedic. So have that. I would love to see a Gremlins reboot.
Yeah, and the coos that are coming out of Ashley's mouth right now resonate with me because why wouldn't you have a Gremlins reboot by now? For no other reason because of how cute Gizmo is. He's so cute.
He's adorable.
That would be
Adorable.
under every Christmas tree. It would be the
Beyond cute.
porgs of that year. So you're going to make a boatload of money merchandise.
Yeah, it's like a porg and a Yorkie had a baby.
Yeah.
I would not like to see that, but
It's like a gremlin.
No, that baby looks like a monster.
It's called the Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jared Sin. I got it right now. I had to think about it. I want to see a sequel to that.
oh,
Shot
thank
in
you. So you're
3D
keeping
too.
score at home. Make sure you adjust your scorecards
Yes.
accordingly. What's the name of it?
Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jared Sin 2
Okay.
coming at you. Like that's the sequel, number
Direction
2.
of Jared Sin 2, and mine is Do They Know It's Christmas Time at All? Ashley, do you have another movie from the 80s?
Yeah, as someone who wasn't alive in the 80s,
Oh, boy.
I'm going to go with, I know some people might view this as a little bit of like an untouchable movie, but The Breakfast Club. I really loved it, and I'd love to see it be redone.
Okay, yeah. The Breakfast Club is an interesting choice. Gremlins is the one that I'm leaning towards. I always love a good 80s horror movie reboot. I thought the Fright Night reboot was fantastic. So something in
Yeah,
that
same
vein,
here.
I'd be all up for. Maybe a Friday the 13th, we finally get out off the ground in the right way. Mark Riley, I know you're watching at home. Feel better, buddy. Lots of chicken soup. And if that doesn't work, NyQuil, Purple Drag will never steer you wrong when you're sick. Move on to one more Twitter question. That is going to come from Stephen Grant at SteveGrant9 says, what trailers do you think we will get during the Super Bowl? Personally, he's hoping for a Cloverfield 3 trailer. So the Super Bowl is coming up the first weekend in February. Personally, I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be back in it for some crazy reason. And I think that we are going to get a Han Solo trailer, if not before the Super Bowl. That's the big question with Han Solo, because it comes out May 25th. So are they going to wait until the Super Bowl when you have a lot of other movies competing for the attention during the commercial of the big game? Or is Star Wars going to say, no, we want our movie to have the spotlight for that day or for that set of days, so we're going to release that trailer ahead of time? I'm looking forward to an Aquaman trailer as well. I think we're going to get James Wan's vision is going to be on display during the Super Bowl. Jay Washington, who's going to be in the Super Bowl, and what movie trailer are we going to see during the commercials?
I hate to say this, first team, New England Patriots, they will be taking on the New Orleans Saints. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I take it back. I got the Saints too.
That is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I believe we're going to get an Aquaman trailer. I believe we're going to get the final Infinity War trailer. We're going to get another Infinity War trailer for sure, because we've got the first one. Everybody was pumped up about it, and we saw some things you'd already heard. I think we're going to get a second one that's going to show you a lot more action and more characters that are involved in this one.
Okay, John Schnepp, you got Infinity War, possibly Aquaman. Black Panther's going to be coming out the next week.
We're going to see that shot of like Thanos pulling that stuff from the moon.
Yep.
You know, because it's like a lot of people saw them and were like, how come that wasn't in the trailer? They're like saving stuff.
Saving it.
They're saving that. So maybe we'll get a little like quick like 10-second Infinity War thing, because we all know we're all going to go see that movie. Definitely probably hype Black Panther. Definitely Solo. I can't really think of any other giant films that are coming out. I mean, Ant-Man is too far away for them to be hyping that.
Tomb Raider.
I feel, Tomb Raider. That's
Tomb
good.
Raider.
Yeah.
Okay, Ashley, any other superhero movies or otherwise on your mind that we'll see during the Super Bowl?
You know what? When is the Super Bowl?
When is it?
When is the Super
It's
Bowl?
the first Sunday in February.
And that deals with soccer. They also
Okay.
call it football,
I'm
but
not
it's
sure
soccer.
if the timing's going to work out, but I would love to see another Black Panther trailer. I feel like that energy would go with the Super Bowl.
We're getting one tonight.
Yeah.
We're getting one tonight?
We're getting one tonight during
new.
the college football championship.
See?
So we
Well,
get
you'll
the,
have an extended trailer tonight during the college football
The halftime,
championship, and then you're also probably going to get a TV spot during the Super Bowl. I think Deadpool 2 could have some sort of marketing campaign. So there's going to be a lot of movies and that you're going to see during the Super Bowl. But just remember, it's all about football and, more importantly, Pepsi's halftime show. So stay tuned right here at Collider for all the latest coverage of who's doing the halftime show.
Justin Timberlake?
Justin Timberlake, that's right. Will Al Michaels shake his booty like Justin Timberlake wants? We are going to find out the question to that and more later on this week. We have a lot of special guests coming in on Movie Talk. So, guys, stay tuned right here. John Schnepp, Christian Harloff, and Grace Hancock are going to be our panel tomorrow, along with this idiot, hopefully feeling a little bit better. I'm up to 80%. Let's get to 83% by tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank my panel. Ashley Mova, where can the kids find you?
Oh, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, Ashley Mova. Happy I don't know. Happy New Year, guys.
She thought about the shoulder shake and said, no, that's 2017 Mova. I have a feeling it comes back. I disagree, and I sell you not doing a shoulder shake. Jay Washington, where can the kids find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Mr. J Washington. That's MrJaywashington. The regular Jay Washington is a Filipino basketball player, and that sure in the hell ain't me.
Your rookie debut on this show, much better than Nathan Peterman's rookie debut earlier this year for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, thank you.
John Schnepp, you didn't get that reference.
Oh, I didn't. You're talking about, was that baseball? Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and what all the other ones, just at John Schnepp. And check out my YouTube channel, The Schnepp Zone. I got some flavor coming towards the end of this month.
And if he's at a comic book convention in the States coming up, make sure you guys get your chance to meet him while he still lives here before he hightails it to London. I am merely Mark Ellis. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.